Welcome. We have a new report out, Europe Stretched to the Limit, and this report assesses the challenges that the region faces. Europe's been in crisis for 7 years now, since 2010, and it faces a multitude of crises over the next 5 years. The region's got to deal with migration, it's got to deal with the risk of Brexit, it's got to deal with the risk of Greece leaving the euro area, it faces economic challenges, an over-dependence on central banks, a productivity slump, questions about democracy, and of course, behind all of this, a security challenge associated with a revisionist Russia. Now, I'll be talking about all of these issues with my colleagues. Our core view is that Europe keeps muddling through. Now, muddle through has been better than most people expected over the past 7 years. It's kept the show on the road. It doesn't get you the best outcome, but it keeps the region together. That's what we're expecting over the next 5 years. I'll talk to some of my colleagues now. Danielle, we say that Brexit risks have risen. Why is that? What's our forecast?
Well, it's been a bad few weeks for the Remain campaign. We've seen their lead in the polls narrow quite significantly over that of Leave, to the point where in some polls they've crossed over. But we retain our forecast that the UK will remain in the EU. And that's ultimately based on the idea that even though the news cycle will fluctuate in favour of both sides and there will remain a lot of noise around the debate, this is overshadowed by more powerful factors, one of which is voters' bias towards the status quo. We've seen this in the Scottish referendum in 2014 and also to a certain extent in last year's general election. And it's based around the idea that even though voters might be uncertain about remaining in the EU, when they get into the voting booth, they will calculate that the economic costs of leaving are just too high.